Hello, and welcome to another edition of Give It a Shot, Mystery Box Edition. The box and I have decided that today we will not do any bits. We're not speaking to each other right now. I'm not going to go into it. In fact, I can hear murmuring right now as I'm got my hand on it. So, we're just going to get on with this. So, here's the deal. 5 DVDs. One of them will be selected. And who do we have today? Well, returning, we have Itty Bitty Heartbeats. We do things from the heart. One day they'll be picked. Still not Skydancers long, but they're getting there. Rainbow Rangers. Help is a rainbow away. That makes no sense. There was no creativity here. Quit being obstinate. The Koala Brothers. We're here to help. I'm sure you are. Care Bears. The Land Without Feelings, because I can't read plurals. The very first episode. I'm sure that's great. And the newcomer. The Secret World of Benjamin Bear. Lessons to learn. Your guess is as good as mine. So, since we're keeping this low context, because the box is grumpy today, because you're a diva. There. Let's see what we get today. Alright, we're doing Care Bears, something I actually kind of know about, because I think I had like 2 or 3 when I was a little kid, so great. You've been nothing but a help. Ugh. Yeah, we need one of these for this. This was kind of rough. I'm going to assume what I just watched was the pilot episode for the cartoon show that these things are. So those of you who don't know Care Bears, they are from a company called Those Characters from Cleveland. So this is, if it is Cleveland, Pennsylvania. No, Pennsylvania does not want Cleveland. So if it is Cleveland, Ohio, this might be the only nice thing that ever came out of Cleveland. Maybe. But regardless, Care Bears were a thing, especially in the 1980s. They were just different colored bears with emblems on their stomach for different, kindness and love and stuff like that. And it was popular enough to have a cartoon show. And I'm supposing that I watched the pilot, because at the very beginning I'm getting the opening theme. It's got all the stuff that came later, like the other creatures, like the lion and the raccoon and some other things. I can't remember what they were, but they came later. But the bears were the thing that everybody knew. And this, if it is a pilot, which I think it is, it's got pilot budget, barely. We're dropping bear puns now. Which, that right there is enough to make drink. No, not yet. Not until I get to the animation part, because let's get into it. So, this is like a retelling of one of their first missions, I guess. The age-old problem, parents need to move, and this little boy is like, I don't want to move, because wherever I'm going is going to suck, because I'm only comfortable with what I know. Gee, it sounds like most adults that I know.
I'm not moving. They can't make me. Parents can make you do anything. I'm not going. I'll run away. That's what I'll do.
And because he's upset, he walks off and is like, I don't care. Everything is I don't care. And he walks off. And the bears hear this up in heaven, because that's where I always thought they were when I was a little kid. And they go down and they try to stop him first. And he's like, what, you gonna stop my parents from moving? And they're like, well, no.
Yeah? Can you stop my parents from moving? Well, no. But we can help you feel better.
And the first thing goes through my skull is, he's gonna stop my parents from getting a divorce? Well, no. Like, that's like where my brain goes. It's probably not healthy, but who cares? But anyway, he wanders off. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He's moody. And he goes into this park that looks, kind of haunted. He's even warned by a talking fountain. The characters do take everything in stride with this. Like, they meet bears that come from heaven and they don't freak out. They meet a fountain that talks to them. They don't freak out. And the kid goes into that park, and it looks worse than Cleveland. It might be Detroit, because it does look run down, and when you see some of the other parts of it when the bears go through, it's a toss-up between Detroit and Cleveland there. So you got that. He goes in and he meets Professor Coldheart, I think is what he said his name was. Professor or doctor. I hope he doesn't have a PhD, because I can just live with Professor. But Professor Coldheart introduces himself through song. And that song is the first time I think I've ever heard death metal and rap put together. And it's interesting, to say the least. Roll the highlights.
Allow me to introduce myself. They call me Professor Coldheart. So listen, here's some sound advice. Be smart. Don't mess with the professor. Cutting, clever Coldheart.
Yeah. That warrants a shot, because that music is both okay and shitty at the same time. And I'm mixed, and therefore I need to take a shot on it. Now I know what gasoline tastes like. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Oof. That'll clear some sinuses. So, this little boy is abducted by Coldheart. He makes him drink beer, and that turns him into one of the little green meanies or whatever. They don't have a name. They're just there. And he's turned into one of them. And so the other bears, they're like, we gotta go find Kevin, because that's what nice creatures we are. And they go into the park, and they start off with 10 bears, and the first 2 stay behind with the girl, and then the 8 go, and then they just naturally start dropping off. But in the meantime, you see them utilize their powers. Like, Tenderhearts is used the most. Like, he can shoot out hearts, and he does different things with them, like makes lily pads, and he uses hearts to climb the side of a mountain. Like, it's impressive. But as they get closer and closer to where Kevin is, they lose out. So they go from 10 to 8 to 4 to 2 to just Tenderheart. And then, because they're running out of time, the 2 that hang out with the girl, because I can't remember the girl's name now, because it was probably Bland, just like the way they animated the humans were bland. Grumpy and Wish-a-Lot, or whatever the name was, the Wish Bear, says, I wish we were all there right now.
Wish we were all in the castle right now.
I knew nothing would happen.
See? If you wish hard enough.
And then, boom, they're there because we don't need to explain anything. In fact, even the stinking cartoon acknowledges this by saying, oh, we don't have time to explain. Meh.
How did you get here?
Never mind. Where's Kevin?
And so they're like, which one's Kevin? And it's like, this green one. It's like, that's not Kevin. Well, it is. He drank my booze, and there you go. And so they're like, oh, we have to use our Care Bear stare, which I'm going to say this, and I'm pretty sure this is something symptomatic of the series. When they do their Care Bear stare, it's like a firing squad. Like, they execute whoever's in front of them and getting, with the stare. And then it just kind of fizzles out like, yeah, like they just got some rocks off and they just kind of, and they defeat, because not only did their Care Bear stare work on Kevin, it got the rest of the little green things. And then Cold Heart's like, I've been bested! And he's gone, and then he gets his ass kicked by nature, which was another thing that happened. When they got in, the park was awful, and then they start singing, and then the place is revitalized to be nice, because, like, it is the land of no feelings, which I can name a couple of cities that are like that. So, yeah. But it doesn't take much, just a little bit of music, and they're like, oh, we have feelings again, and we feel beautiful. And you watch rocks fall in love with each other, which I have so many questions, but I'm not going to ask them. And ta-da! It's as compelling as you can imagine. In fact, I probably made it sound better than it actually is, because it's not. Which is what I could say for the animation. The title, the opening theme animation is good because it's the stuff they used from the later season. But this animation, not so much. I mean, the bears you can cheat with because they're all this. They have the same dimensions. They're just palette swaps, and the only thing really different on them, other than their color, is their emblem on their stomach. So, that animation's pretty simple. The villain, Cold Heart, reminds me of like a Rankin Bass villain. Like, I want to say something akin to like Jack Frost from one of those, from one of the stop motion Rankin Bass specials, but I can't remember. If I can figure out which one he kind of looks like, maybe I'll put it up. But that's exactly what I recall. But the thing that they went like no budget on, what were the children. That looked awful. The children looked awful. I can't even sugarcoat that. They looked awful. No emotion in their faces. I mean, at least when Good Times does, emotionless, it's just a mismatch. This, no. Just no. Oh, fuck. Hey, what'd you do today? I drank half of Sunoco, maybe a little bit of Shell. Oh. So, damn. So the animation is lacking, but I mean, I could just say this is a pilot, but even pilots usually have a bit of a better, bigger budget. Usually you chintz out when you go when you finally get your series and how many episodes you get. You might chintz out on some things, because I mean, I saw a lot of shortcuts in this, and it was pretty bad. The story itself was meh. It's a little rushed, but I mean, really, it was 20 some odd minutes. It wasn't even 20 minutes, I don't think. Like, this was short for a pilot. Like, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot here, and they still had to fill it up with songs. So no wonder, you finished the whole thing off with, "I wish we were there," and like just cut out all this bullshit because it would require, like, thought. And you got what you got, so... yeah, it's... whew. Overall... it's not... awful. It's middle of the road, which is kind of weird when I say that considering I took 2 shots. But those 2 shots were based on, you know, unique characteristics that are specific to this.
Don't mess with the professor! Creepy, crafty, cutting, chemical, hot! Don't mess with the professor!
The fact that you have a death metal rap song and children who look poorly animated as they do warrants those shots. In reality, it's not terrible, but it sure as hell ain't great. It's kind of bland, but it was the start of the Care Bears, so I think. So it's kind of explaining some things, so there's that. But introducing 10 characters at once in 20 minutes is tough. Like, how much do you really know about these characters within those 20 minutes? And so I had to give it a little bit of leeway on that, but still, it wasn't all that great. I mean, I'm glad I finally had something that I was familiar with, but sometimes it becomes one of those cases where you remember something a very specific way, and you're like, hey, I wouldn't mind seeing what that was like, revisiting, right? And then you do, and then it's like, well, that didn't do me any favors. You know, like, usually when I think of the Care Bears, I think of the Care Bears movie, and I think they had 2 of them, but the one with the kid who basically becomes like the devil at a camp, that's the one I remember, and I think that's kind of where my memory went. And it was cheesy, and it was fine, it was passable, but then I get this, and it kind of reminds me of that adage, you never want to meet your heroes. Yeah, I don't think I wanted to. But overall, 2 shots, mainly because of 2 things, but I don't really think it's 2 shots worthy. I mean, on a regular scale, it's probably just 0 because it's so bland and boring, but, well, when you got a rapping professor, how can you go wrong?
Cold Hearts!
Just don't ask me to do that, because I don't rap. I can't even wrap Christmas presents, for God's sakes. What makes you think I could even do that? I couldn't even fake it like ODB. I'm no Dirt McGirt, old dirty blocks. I'm just me. So, yeah, 2 shots. And just don't give me a Care Bear stare, because I might just give you my own Technicolor rainbow out my mouth as I vomit everywhere. So until next time, party people, toodles.